It was March 2009 at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. The boxing world had gathered for what was supposed to be a routine charity exhibition match featuring former champions and celebrity participants. The event, organized to raise funds for underprivileged youth boxing programs, had attracted an impressive roster of attendees. Among them was Clint Eastwood, who was there both as a supporter of the cause and to promote his latest boxing film project. Mike Tyson, still carrying the reputation as one of the most intimidating figures in boxing despite his recent retirement, was scheduled to participate in a light sparring demonstration. His presence alone was enough to electrify the crowd, but what nobody anticipated was how the evening would spiral into an unforgettable confrontation. The trouble began during the pre-event press conference. Tyson, known for his unpredictable behavior and controversial statements, was fielding questions from reporters when someone asked about the Hollywood representation of boxing in films. The question seemed innocent enough, but when a journalist specifically mentioned Eastwood's boxing movies, including Million Dollar Baby, something in Tyson's demeanor shifted. "You want to know what I think about Hollywood boxing?" Tyson said, his voice carrying that familiar edge that had intimidated countless opponents. "These actors think they know what real fighting is about. They put on gloves for a few months, learn some choreographed moves, and suddenly they're experts." The room grew tense as Tyson's gaze fixed on Eastwood, who was seated in the front row of the press area. "Take this guy here," Tyson continued, pointing directly at the legendary actor and director, Clint Eastwood. "Everyone thinks he's some tough guy because he played cowboys and cops. But at the end of the day, he's just an actor. Just an actor who's never stepped into a real ring with real consequences." The silence in the room was deafening. Eastwood, maintaining his characteristic calm demeanor, simply nodded slightly but didn't respond immediately. The other attendees shifted uncomfortably, sensing the tension building between two icons from completely different worlds. What happened next surprised everyone in attendance. Instead of backing down or ignoring the provocation, Eastwood slowly stood up from his seat. His weathered face remained impassive, but there was something in his eyes that suggested Mike Tyson had just made a significant miscalculation. "Mr. Tyson," Eastwood said in that familiar gravelly voice, his tone measured and controlled, "I've spent my entire career playing characters who know when to talk and when to act. You seem to have forgotten that some of us prepared for our roles quite thoroughly." The former heavyweight champion scoffed. "Preparation? You mean learning fake punches for the cameras? That's not preparation, old man. That's playing pretend." Eastwood took a step closer to the microphone area. "I'll tell you what, Mike, since you seem to think I'm just playing pretend, why don't we settle this properly? Right here, right now. Put your money where your mouth is." The crowd erupted. Nobody had expected the 79-year-old Hollywood legend to directly challenge one of the most feared fighters in boxing history. Event organizers immediately tried to intervene, but Tyson's ego had been triggered. The idea that this actor was challenging him in front of cameras and spectators was more than organizers, realizing they were witnessing something unprecedented, quickly arranged for proper safety measures. Medical personnel were on standby, and both men signed extensive waivers. The rules were simple: 3 rounds, professional supervision, and full protective gear. It was meant to be more of an exhibition than a real fight, but everyone in the building could feel the genuine animosity between the two men. As they entered the ring, the contrast was stark. Tyson, built like a concrete block, moved with the predatory grace that had made him famous. His muscles rippled under the arena lights, and his presence alone seemed to fill the entire space. Eastwood, lean and tall, moved with a different kind of confidence, the quiet assurance of someone who had nothing to prove but everything to defend. The bell rang, and Tyson immediately went on the attack. His strategy was obvious, and as quickly and decisively. He came forward with his characteristic head movement and explosive combinations, expecting to overwhelm the actor within seconds. But something unexpected happened. Eastwood didn't panic. Instead of backing away or covering up defensively, he used his height and reach advantage expertly. His footwork was surprisingly smooth, and he managed to slip several of Tyson's initial rushes while landing sharp, precise jabs that kept the former champion at bay. The crowd was stunned. This wasn't supposed to be competitive. Tyson was supposed to demonstrate the difference between Hollywood fantasy and boxing reality. Instead, Eastwood was making Tyson work harder than anyone had anticipated. By the second round, Tyson's frustration was becoming visible. His initial game plan of quick intimidation had failed, and now he was facing an opponent who seemed completely unfazed by his reputation. Eastwood's conditioning, maintained through decades of physical film work and personal fitness routines, was serving him well. More importantly, Eastwood's ring intelligence was becoming apparent. He wasn't trying to match Tyson's power or speed. Instead, he was fighting a completely different fight, using timing, distance, and precision to neutralize Tyson's advantages. Every time Tyson rushed forward, Eastwood would circle away, land a clean shot, and reset. The psychological effect on Tyson was profound. He had built his entire reputation on intimidation and quick finishes. Facing an opponent who refused to be intimidated and couldn't be quickly finished was foreign territory for him, especially in his current physical condition. The decisive moment came midway through the second round. Tyson, growing increasingly desperate to land a knockout blow, overcommitted on a wild right hook. Eastwood saw it coming, slipped to his left, and countered with a perfectly timed uppercut that caught Tyson flush on the chin. The impact wasn't devastating in terms of pure power, but the timing and precision were perfect. Tyson, off balance from his own missed punch, stumbled backward. His legs, no longer as steady as they once were, betrayed him. He sat down hard on the canvas, more from shock and loss of balance than from the force of the punch itself. The arena fell completely silent. Mike Tyson, the man who had once been the most feared fighter on the planet, was sitting on the canvas looking up at a 79-year-old actor who was calmly returning to his corner. Tyson got back to his feet quickly, but the damage to his ego was complete. The referee, seeing that Tyson was more embarrassed and hurt, allowed the fight to continue, but something had fundamentally changed. The mystique was broken. For the remainder of the round, Tyson fought more cautiously, his earlier aggression replaced by a grudging respect for his opponent's abilities. Eastwood, meanwhile, continued to box intelligently, never taking unnecessary risks but always maintaining control of the distance and pace. When the final bell rang, there was no question about who had won the confrontation. While no official decision was rendered, this was, after all, supposed to be a charity exhibition. Everyone in attendance knew they had witnessed something extraordinary. As both men removed their gloves, Eastwood approached Tyson in the center of the ring. Instead of gloating or making a speech about his victory, he simply extended his hand. "Good fight," he said quietly. Tyson, his earlier arrogance completely deflated, took the offered hand. "I underestimated you," he admitted, loud enough for the nearby microphones to pick up. "I thought you were just an actor." Eastwood's response became the quote that defined the entire encounter. "Mike, the biggest mistake you can make is assuming you know everything about someone based on what you see on the surface. I've been playing tough guys for 50 years, but I was tough long before I was an actor." The crowd erupted in applause, not just for the unexpected boxing exhibition, but for the lesson in humility and respect that had just played out before their eyes. The footage of Mike Tyson hitting the canvas after being dropped by Clint Eastwood spread around the world within hours. Sports networks, entertainment shows, and social media platforms couldn't get enough of the story. It became an instant classic. The night when Hollywood proved that sometimes the roles we play are based on people we really are. For Tyson, it was a humbling experience that many say marked a turning point in his post-boxing life. The man who had built his reputation on fear and intimidation learned that respect couldn't be demanded. It had to be earned. For Eastwood, it was validation of something he had always believed, that preparation, discipline, and quiet confidence would always triumph over bluster and assumed superiority. The charity event raised more money than any similar function in boxing history, and the story of the confrontation became legendary in both sports and entertainment circles. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think experience and preparation can overcome natural talent and physical advantages? Was this a case of an older, wiser fighter outthinking a naturally gifted but overconfident opponent? Or did we witness something else entirely? Let me know your thoughts in the comment below. And don't forget to subscribe for more incredible Clint Eastwood stories that prove reality is often stranger than fiction.